Narottama, he appeared in the year that Lord Chaitanya departed. Lord Chaitanya predicted that Narottama was coming. He went, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they went to visit Ramakeli, where Rupa and Sanatana Goswami had established a centre. Ramakeli is near the river Padma. So, in Lord Chaitanya's normal fashion, whenever he travels, he engages in Sankirtan, Kirtan. That's his recreation. So he was involved in chanting the holy names of Krishna, and he was calling out Rupa and Sanatana. He was remembering Rupa and Sanatana, calling out to them in this place, near the Padma River. Then in the middle of the kirtan, Lord Chaitanya just started singing out, Narottama, Narottama, Narottama. And he became ecstatic and fell unconscious. Nityananda, as he was falling unconscious, hundreds of men tried to stop him from hitting the ground, but he hit with a big thud. Narottama, Narottama, Narottama. Nitai, who was most intimately connected with Lord Chaitanya, understood his mind almost. He appealed to him, "My Lord, what is wrong? Who is..." And Lord Chaitanya started to describe who is Narottama. Lord Chaitanya, he appeared in order to establish the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names, in order to become connected with Radha Krishna, in order to find out who we actually are. So he was in great apprehension. How will my mission continue when I'm gone? Srila Prabhupada, he followed the orders of his spiritual master. He established the GBC. And with that confidence in these leading disciples, he hoped and prayed that the mission would continue. When Srila Prabhupada came to Sydney and installed Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, he witnessed the quality of the residence, and he prayed to Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, "My dear Lord, I've brought you here. I'm leaving you in the hands of the Malechas. Please look after them. Train them up." So, by the intercession of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath and the prayers of Srila Prabhupada, Krishna consciousness has maintained and spread wonderfully. Narottama was the answer to Lord Chaitanya's apprehension, and he described that to Lord Nityananda, that in the future Narottama will appear and he will be invested by me with my potency. Srila Prabhupada writes, "The prayers of Narottama Das Thakur, this sound is above the material platform. It is directly from the spiritual platform. And there is no need of understanding the language. It is just like a thunderburst. Everyone can hear the sound of thunder. There is no misunderstanding. Similarly, these songs of Narottama Das Thakur are above the material platform, and they crack like thunder within your heart." Very simple Bengali expressions of how to get in touch with Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. The song that I sang at the beginning is entitled Mana Shiksha, Teachings to the Mind, from Narottama Das Thakur's Prarthana. Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala. Nitai Pada, the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, are cooling and soothing like millions of moons. The moon is cooling. Lord Nityananda, he appears on the Triodasi. We were travelling with Ramai Swami and the busboys up north, and it was Nityananda's appearance day. So we were fasting, and we were in anxiety that we were fasting. We wanted to break our fast. So we knew that we couldn't break fast until the moon rose. So we were standing on the roofs of some of the vehicles, looking for the moon. And when the moon arose on Nityananda Triodasi, it was so beautiful. It came across the wheat fields, across the natural surrounding. Beautiful moon, the Nityananda Triodasi moon. The moon last night and this morning, full moon, Purnima, for Narottama, 2 or 3 days later. The moon, everybody knows the celebration we attend on Lord Chaitanya's appearance day. It's called Gora Purnima. That full moon is the Gora moon. And Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they're often described to be like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gora to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and to wonderfully bestow benedictions upon all. Narottama Das Thakur. He was predicted by Lord Chaitanya. He will appear. So, we understand, since he's appeared, how special Narottama is. At that time, people just heard about him. He's coming. He's going to be able to continue the mission. At the time when Lord Chaitanya fell unconscious and he revealed to Nityananda who Narottama was, Nityananda asked him, he will be invested with your potency. How will he get this potency? What are you talking about? So Lord Chaitanya explained that he will deposit his bhakti, his pure love, in the care of the river Padma. So the devotees were having the kirtan, and then, as often happens in the kirtan, the devotees would take bath. Lord Chaitanya, he went into the Padma river, and the Padma river had been smooth and gentle, but the waves started to generate, and it started to froth and bubble, and the waters overflowed the banks of the river. Lord Chaitanya entered into there, and just as the river was going wild in ecstasy, suddenly the personification of the river, the Devi, Mother Padmavati, she appeared. Ganga is described dressed in a beautiful white sari and beautiful. Padma Devi also, she appeared before her Lord and expressed to him, "My dear Lord, I'm so overwhelmed by ecstasy from your touch. How can I serve you?" And Lord Chaitanya explained to her, "Well, I have a gift for my very dear devotee. I want you to take care of it." And he offered his own Gora Prem into the care of Mother Padmavati. And she said, "Thank you for allowing me to do this service. How will I know? Who is Narottama? How will I know this person?" And Lord Chaitanya described that when a devotee enters into the water and you feel the same feelings that you're feeling now, You'll understand. That's Narottama. So Narottama appeared in a family. He took birth in a family of very elevated Sudras. His mother was Narayani and his father was Krishnananda. He was the king of the region, Keturi. They were so happy to have their son. They were pleased that their son had appeared. They were overjoyed because when he appeared he was beautiful, effulgent. They called the astrologer to come and describe some of the glories of their newly arrived son. The astrologer came, a learned Brahmana, pious, humble Brahmana, and immediately he noticed all of the signs of a Mahapurush, the topmost personality in the body of this young child. Lotus eyes, golden form, limbs, perfectly formed features. And then he sat down, he pulled out all of his charts and he did his calculation. And he became astonished at one time. Wow, such a wonderful personality. Your son, he's an exalted personality. He was so influential in presenting the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. But there's one anomaly in his chart. Be careful. Astrologers sometimes say, well, your moon is afflicted, or your son, you need this jewelry, you need to spend so much money, and that will correct. The anomaly for Narottama was if he ever bathes in a river, he will go mad. Pagala. Completely raving bonkers. Keep him away from the river. Or rivers. So the mother and father, Krishna and Narayani, they were satisfied, they were peaceful, they could foresee the future of their son. And within their hearts they were very cautious. They determined that they would protect Narottama. He was the prince in the region. The big Padma River was nearby. So he had heavy security guards all around him, not allowed out. He started to display his incredible qualities, and one incident was that at his 6-month samskar, which is called Anaprashna, the first grain-giving ceremony. The grain-giving ceremony, and then there's also, we include another ceremony of offering the child different items, a scripture, wealth, musical instruments, to see what is the future propensity of this child. So Narottama, 6-month-old, the priest had prepared some sweet rice and auspicious mantras, and then offered the sweet rice. And Narottama pushed it away, refused to accept it. And the priest was flabbergasted. Oh, this is inauspicious. But the mother and the father, they were aware of the qualities of their son. So they delved a little bit deeper, they inquired. And they discovered that the priest made the sweet rice, but he hadn't offered it. It was boga. So Narottama wouldn't eat anything that was not offered. So they explained it to him, and he rectified. He got some fresh sweet rice and he made an offering. And then Narottama was again offered the sweet rice and devoured it. Very, very satisfying. Narottama was a good boy. He liked school. He liked to study. And of course, his father and mother, being the king and the queen, they arranged for his education to be in pristine environment. He had all of the teachers there. So he learned very well, but his real education was as a result of a devotee called Krishnadas, who was an associate, an elderly man, an associate of Lord Chaitanya. And he would come and he'd sit in the courtyard of the king and the queen, and every day he would discourse for about 3 hours about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And Narottama would sit there just enthralled. For 12 years he was just being fed this beautiful narration about Lord Chaitanya. Then around the year of his 12th birthday, he was having a dream. Toward the morning time, dreams towards the morning time, they can be ascertained as being more factual. When you first go to sleep, then the dreams are a little bit disturbed and overlapped. But towards morning time, he dreamed, and Lord Nityananda appeared to him in a dream. Lord Nityananda said, Narottama, get up, go and bathe in the river. Narottama, he conscious of how potent, how beautiful, how significant was Lord Nityananda appearing in his dream, immediately woke up. It was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There were security guards all the way around his building, around his room. So he, dressed in a gamcha, he climbed out through a little window high up in the wall and jumped onto the roof and then eased himself down. Everybody was asleep at that time. And he trundled off down to the bank of the river. He paid his obeisances and then he started to wade into the water. And immediately the same effect as when Lord Chaitanya was there. The waves became more agitated and they're frothing and bubbling and boiling. The ecstasy of love of Godhead was being experienced by Mother Padma because of the association with such an exalted devotee. And he kept on wading, and he'd never been in a river before. He kept on wading in, and then again Mother Padmavati appeared with her hands offering a gift. And at first it appeared like a golden lotus, like a many-petaled golden lotus. And as she was offering it to Narottama, then Lord Chaitanya appeared. And he entered into the body of Narottama. Lord Chaitanya, his method of preaching, dancing in ecstasy, and he would embrace somebody. They would become overwhelmed with the ecstasy, the love of God that Lord Chaitanya was experiencing. And then that person, they would go back home to their village and they would embrace somebody and they would become overwhelmed. And then on and on and on. This spreading of that mood of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya invested that potency in Narottama. He could not deal with the symptoms of ecstasy. Prema Bhakti, Prema, is a state of love of Godhead. There are 10 levels. Prema is the beginning level. There are 10 levels above Prema. And the topmost level is Mahabhav, which only Srimati Radharani, Madhavendra Puri and one other devotee in this world have been able to experience. Once you get to the stage of Prema, you can't go beyond that because the material body is not capable of processing, of handling the emotions. Radharani, she became mad. She started conversing with a bumblebee. So Narottama is feeling this. And he went mad. He managed to drag himself back to the shore of the bank of the river and was lying on the bank, rolling around. Gaura, Nitai, Nitai, Gaura, Gauranga, Nityananda. For hours. He was just going completely mad. And of course, suddenly very quickly a crowd gathered. In India, there's instant crowds. Once we went to Shantipur on Madhavendra Puri's appearance day. If you take prasadam at Shantipur on Madhavendra Puri's appearance day, you'll get love of God. So at Shantipur they have a festival there, and every year they prepare lots of prasadam and they distribute it. So ISKCON was asked to take over that festival because it became so big. They cook khichdi non-stop for 24 hours in woks that are 12 feet across. 3 sacks of rice, 2 sacks of dal, a sack of turmeric, half a kilogram, a lot of salt and spices. They cook it like that, big fire. They empty it out into a concrete tank, 20,000, 30,000 litre concrete tank, and it stays hot for 24 hours. So we cooked it up one year, ISKCON, but they forgot to advertise it. There was nobody there to eat all this prasadam. So the local devotees, they understood the situation. They got in a couple of jeeps and they went to the local villages and just started announcing. And then suddenly, before our eyes, all of these thousands of people just emerged from out of the jungle. Thousands of them, 20,000. I was helping I thought I was going to help to serve, because take prasadam and receive. So I grabbed a bucket and I was going up to serve. And the devotee said, "Stop, you can't do that. There's no plates." So we had to get the leaf plates. They're not washed. Got to wash the plates. So we started doing that, and then the plates were being grabbed out from underneath us. So the devotee said, "You have to guard the plates. And you have to give directions." So eventually, put the plate down, put the bucket down. Somebody else will do that. We're guarding the plates, and all these people are coming up to me and asking where to go, what to do. And then the devotee in charge came up to me and said, "I'll give you a mantra. Ami Bangala Janina," which means I don't speak Bengali. So I was able to stand there and direct. And then after we distributed all of the prasadam, 20,000 litres of khichdi, then still more people were coming. So the devotees went round with lail hailers. "Get on the bus! Get on the bus!" It was like a riot. We had to escape from this event. So there was this crowd. They gathered to see Narottama, or to experience Narottama's ecstasy. And then with the crowd there, then somebody understood this is the prince, the son of the king. They sent a message back to the palace. They'd been in anxiety. They got up in the morning and their beloved Naru, he was not there. So they've been searching for him. And they came down to the bank of the river and they saw this person, and from a distance, his body had changed colour. He was just like Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is Krishna after hearing about the pastimes of Krishna with the cowherd maidens. And his eyes just dilated and his limbs retracted into his body. He was completely transformed. So Narottama was completely transformed. His parents couldn't recognise him. But his mother came up, "Oh, my darling, calm down." Father, he saw that he wasn't coming down. I'm trying to calm down, but the emotions were just pouring out of him. He's calling out. The king, Krishnananda, immediately said, "It's a ghost!" And they said, "We've got to get an exorcist. Try and remove the ghost." And they tried whatever they could, but Narottama, slowly, they managed to pacify him enough so that they could get him back to the palace. And he was there in his bedroom trying to keep calm, but practically crawling the walls, so much absorbed in that mood of love that Lord Chaitanya had invested in. He could hardly sleep. And he just tried to pacify himself. One night, after trying to be normal, after trying to not disturb his mother and father so much, their son, the prince, who they were hoping was going to take over the kingdom, he'd sold out completely to the Vaishnavas. One night, Narottama cried himself to sleep, praying, "My Lord, I want to get in touch with you. I want to serve you." praying intently like that. In the middle of the later night, he had a dream again. When you pray, the personality you're praying to, even praying, just calling out to the universe, to somebody, praying, you get a reciprocation. So with his prayer and his intense mood, his desire to get in touch with his beloved Lord, Lord Chaitanya appeared. And he immediately told him, off to Vrindavan. Go to Vrindavan. Go and take shelter of my devotee, Lokanath Goswami. Take initiation from him. This is the first principle of spiritual life. Find a spiritual master. Hear from him. Take initiation from him. Follow his instructions. This is the beginning of spiritual life. This is the primary instruction in spiritual life. So Lord Chaitanya appeared to him and he told him where to find his spiritual master, who his spiritual master was, and told him, take shelter. So Narottama, again, early in the morning, was wrapped in some cloth, had a chadar, took his japamala and his water pot, and he was off. He managed to escape the guards, and he went through the back roads, and he was heading to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is in northern India. He was in Kheturi, which is over the other border, across in Bangladesh. It's about a 2 or 3 month walk. So he had a bit of a head start. His mother and father discovered that he was missing again, and they sent out a search party. Narottama had been really powering along, but a party of 10 soldiers caught up with him. Aha! We've captured you, you scoundrel! We're taking you back. And Narottama, peacefully, with tears in his eyes, pleaded with them, pleaded with the soldiers. He described, I've given my heart I've given my love to a particular lover. How can I give my heart again? Indicating that he'd given his heart to Krishna. How could he then go back and become implicated in material society, family, friendship and love? And the soldiers accepted it. They agreed with him. They understood his pure, the quality of his heart. And they said, okay, we'll let you go. So Narottama continued on his journey to Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He was so absorbed in that mood of trying to find Lord Chaitanya. He understood that Lord Chaitanya had left. So he was still hoping that he'd be able to meet Rupa and Sanatan, the associates of Lord Chaitanya. And he was so much in anxiety, he wasn't eating, he was barely drinking, he was just moving. He sometimes he would faint, he'd become unconscious, he'd faint away from just overload, exhaustion. And he was protected, he was nourished, he kept on going. He approached the outskirts of Vrindavan. He wasn't sure that it was in Vrindavan, so he would inquire, where is Vrindavan? Where is Vrindavan? Where is my Gora? Where's Vrindavan? And there was an old Brahmana there on the outskirts of Vrindavan. And he wasn't looking so happy, but Narottama approached him and said, where's Vrindavan? He said, my son, Vrindavan is just here, you've arrived. I want to see Rupa and Sanatan. And the old Brahmana, he said, what? You don't know? You haven't heard? A week ago, Rupa left, and Sanatan, they left this world. So Narottama threw himself on the ground and was weeping and cursing himself. I'm such a wretch. I didn't appear in time to get the association of these great servants of the Lord. So rather than just pining away, he still had one last hope. I've been instructed I have to go to Lokanath Goswami. I have to see him. So news that he was there had spread, and Jiva Goswami, who was residing in Radha Damodar Temple, he came and Narottama, in his wretched state, he saw this effulgent personality, and Jiva Goswami reached out to him, offered his hand, and Narottama said, "Who are you?" He said, Jiva. So he felt sheltered. He reached out. He accepted the help of Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami said, "We've been waiting for you. We've heard about you. We've been waiting for you. Now I want to go and introduce you to the first Goswami. The first Goswami who came to Vrindavan. It's Lokanath Goswami." So Narottama felt so relieved he was going to be able to see Narottama. He went there with Jiva Goswami. They went into the forest. Lokanath was remaining there in a kunj, in where the bushes are overgrown, shelter, just the forest, no particular residence. And he saw him from a distance, this old sadhu, Babaji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He was so old and feeble, but he was relishing the holy names. And Jiva Goswami brought him into the association of Lokanath Goswami. Narottama didn't waste any time. He wasn't beating around the bush. He approached Lokanath Goswami, he offered him praise, and he said, "I want to accept you as my master. Please accept me." Lokanath Goswami explained, but you're a prince, and I'm just like a beggar. You're the son of the king. How can I accept you as my disciple? Sorry. Narottama was a determined young person. He wasn't going to take that easily. So he begged again and again, continually to be pushed away. But Narottama, with Krishna conscious intelligence, he realized he had to win the heart of Lokanath. He had to appeal to him. So with his determined, he was searching out an old saintly person living in the forest. How can you serve? He would offer service, but I don't need anything. So eventually he realized that there is one service. My guru, he goes off into the forest early in the morning to answer the call of nature. So he would go off in the bushes, and then Narottama would sneak in the same direction, and after Lokanath had answered the call of nature and went back to his little ashram, Narottama would come in there and clean all of the now filthy place, and he would provide fresh clay for washing his hands and water, and he would make it all neat and tidy, like a pujari decorating the altar. With so much devotion, so much dedication, he would clean the toilet of his guru. And he did that for a couple of weeks. And Lokanath Swami was going in the morning, early in the morning in the dark, and he was relieving himself. And then he started to notice, hey, what's happening here? It's being maintained. Who has done this? So one morning he left, but he didn't leave all the way. He stayed and hid in the bushes. And he saw Narottama sneak in there. And he apprehended him. Hey, you're the prince, you can't do this. Narottama responded appropriately, and Lokanath Goswami became a little bit softened. Coincidentally, that night, Lord Chaitanya appeared in a dream, and reminded Lokanath Goswami. I promised him, I told him, I've directed him towards you. Now, you must take on the responsibility. You must take that duty, even though you're reluctant and this is my request. There was another devotee that was Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He wanted to take initiation from a guru, Gorkishore Das Babaji, and he used to refuse. I won't accept you. So he was determined as well. And after a month or so, Gorkishore Das Babaji said, okay, I'll ask Mahaprabhu. So the next morning, Lord Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur came back and asked his prospective guru, so, what did Lord Chaitanya say? Gorkishore Das Babaji said, I forgot to ask him. So then another time he asked him, and eventually he wore him down, and eventually Gorkishore Das Babaji accepted. So eventually Lokanath Goswami accepted Narottama. And a new book had just come out. It was the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, organised by Sanatana Goswami. And it had all the procedures for how to initiate. So Narottama was initiated by Lokanath Goswami. His only disciple he accepted. He was initiated by Lokanath Goswami according to these new procedures. So we got to the stage where he's got initiated. That's just the beginning. So so much more to the life of Narottama Das Thakur. Should we continue? 2 or 3 minutes. I'll just read a little of the translation of that song. Nitai pada kamala koti chandra shushitala jai jaya jagate jura. This is a very nice song sung by Narottama Das Thakur. He advises that Nitai pada, the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, Kamala means lotus and pada means feet, are a shelter where one will get the soothing moonlight, not only of one, but of millions of moons. We can just imagine the aggregate total value of the soothing shine of millions of moons. The sun is hot, so in the night after the hot sun, the moon is cooling, soothing. In this material world, Jagat, which is progressing toward hell, there's always a blazing fire, and everyone is struggling hard without finding peace. Therefore, if the world wants to have real peace, it should take shelter under the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, which are cooling like the shining of a million moons. If one actually wants relief from the struggle of existence and actually wants to distinguish the blazing fire of material pangs, Narottama Das Thakur advises, please take shelter of Lord Nityananda. The song goes on to describe that you can't have any success in life unless you develop a relationship with Lord Nityananda. And Narottama just expresses it over and over again, that if you want to get in touch with Radha Krishna, then you have to develop a relationship with the six Goswamis, you have to develop a relationship with Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda, he can help you to understand Lord Chaitanya, the mood of Lord Chaitanya. It's said that Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they're brothers. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, Lord Nityananda is Balaram. You have to accept both of them. You can't say, you have to develop a relationship with both of them. If you ignore or you minimize, you have less of a relationship with Nityananda or Lord Chaitanya, then that's considered offensive. So you have to develop a relationship with Lord Nityananda, otherwise life is useless. And useless life means you haven't developed your full potential. You're just wallowing around in a life of sense gratification. So that's a useless life. It's available for the hogs and the dogs which eat stool. Anybody can get sense gratification. But the human form of life has a special gift, and that's to develop love of God. So that's dependent upon developing a relationship with those who have love of Godhead. Lord Nityananda, and he's freely giving. Lord Chaitanya is freely giving. So Narottama Das Thakur, he came to reiterate that message. He organised big festivals. He did a lot of deity worship. At the first big Kachuri festival, which is the forerunner of the Gaura Purnim festival, he united all of the different Vaishnavas all over India. Janavama, Lord Nityananda's wife, came with a party of devotees from there, and they all came together and they had wonderful festival. Narottama also was instrumental in presenting kirtan in a very appealing way, singing bhajans which touched the heart in his immersion, because he was such an exalted, a Mahapurush, exalted devotee. So at this festival he inaugurated the worship of 6 sets of Radha Krishna deities and 1 Gauranga Murti. Sona Gauranga. Narottama found Sona Gauranga in a snake-infested wheat silo. The villagers wouldn't let him go in there, so I'm going in. He went in there, and in amongst, he found this beautiful murti. The deity was in there being protected by all the snakes. We visited that temple, and the pujaris, we were there with the deity for 2 or 3 hours. On the altar in the back, seeing all the little shalagrams with Indradumna Maharaj and his party. Sona Gauranga. Very absorbing. There are other deities like Braj Mohan. Braj Mohan is a Radha Krishna deity who is installed in Vrindavan, the Braj Mohan Mandir. I was first introduced to that place. My guru, he asked me to help to set up an initiation yajna for his disciple. At that initiation yajna, one person at the foot of the deities of Narottama, Braj Mohan, he gave his disciple the name Narottama Das Thakur Das. And he's a great friend. He provides nice clothes for me, chooses the cloth. And sometimes you talk to Narottama, he's an expert on logistics. So you can ask him to do something, and in a fraction of a second he's organised it and thought about it. You'll ask him to do something and he says, "What? I'm Narottama! Why do you doubt? I'm Narottama!" He can do that, invested with his special potency. So these beautiful deities, Narottama installed them. He started the beautiful festival, and all of his bhajans, they reiterate the same thing. Follow the instructions of your spiritual master. If you want to have success, become serious. Follow the instructions of your spiritual master. And that's easily expressed in terms of worship the deities, come before the deities, see the deities, develop a relationship with the deities, chant good rounds. Chant your mantra very nicely, chant good rounds. And then with that foundation of spiritual support, go out and preach the divine command. Spread Krishna consciousness. So in a nutshell, this is Narottama's mission. And Srila Prabhupada, as I said, he described that the thunder-like instructions, they're perceived within the heart. You can't avoid them, you can't miss them. They're not complicated language. Nittai pada kamala koti chandra shushitala. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are just like the soothing rays of millions of moons. Narottama Das Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Lord Nityananda's festival ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. There's going to be a big festival. Ramai Swami's been encouraging me to keep moving. 9 o'clock the next part starts, and then at 9:45 you'll hear more ecstatic, elaborate pastimes of Lord Nityananda from His Holiness.
Shanti Parayana, prabhu ki. Please stay for just 1 minute, everyone, because I do have a whole bucket of announcements here. And Shanti, thank you for doing that, prabhu. I was wondering. Yeah, wonderful class, prabhu, on the glories of Narottama Das Thakur. Thank you so much. So, big welcome, dear devotees, to Nityananda Trayodasi Maha Mahotsava Ki. I'll start with this beautiful bhajan. Narya Godrumi Nityananda Mahajan Pratyachinam Hatta Jivara Karan. In the land of Nadia, on the island of Godruma, the magnanimous Lord Nityananda has opened up the marketplace of the holy name, meant for the deliverance of all fallen souls. So welcome to the marketplace of the holy name, dear devotees. Lord Nityananda has opened up a marketplace, and in this marketplace the only item traded is the holy name. By performing small acts of service as you attend the festival, you will obtain bhakti cards printed with parts of the Maha Mantra. Like this, everyone. When you go outside, you will receive one of these little bags to put, hopefully you'll collect all 8 bhakti cards. You can put it in this little bag here, and it gets very exciting after that. Carrying on. Your goal is to collect the full set of 8 bhakti cards so that you have a complete Maha Mantra. If you receive doubles of the same card, you can trade with other devotees who may also be missing cards. Once you have a complete set, proceed to the nectar bank to collect your prize. Now there are limited prizes, everyone. So, and Krishna Balaram Prabhu, who, as many of us know, actually works for the Commonwealth Bank. So he is the appropriate person to be manning the Bhakti Bank. He's not going to the Commonwealth Bank today, but he's manning the Bhakti Bank. So look out for him when you have all 8 of your Bhakti cards. Prizes are limited, and I have actually seen the prize. I'm not allowed to tell you what it is, but you really would love to get one of these prizes, and that's all I'm allowed to say about it. So, all right, so carrying on from there in the marketplace of the holy name, and we have, all right, some examples of service. You will receive a bhakti card when one of our 3 undercover devotee agents, whose names are Suratanath, Suvarna Rupa and Radha Ikra. They will be circulating during the festivities, everyone, and when they see you doing a little random act of kindness, some service, they'll just come by and very discreetly slip you a bhakti card to put in your little bag. So it's all very exciting. And we know the real nectar, there's more joy in giving than receiving, so there's abundant opportunities today, everyone, for all of us to do a little service to our dear fellow Vaishnavas and the deities. So some examples of service are preparing for the festival, and I already have all the names, wonderful devotees I'll read out later, who have been in the kitchen for days actually, what to speak of this morning early. Preparing for the festival, decorating, bringing a gift, bringing flowers, bringing bhoga, assisting in the kitchen, serving the feast, cleaning the temple, festival pack-up, etc. So that's just a little bit about, most importantly, everyone, the amazing feedback that Dhriti Gopi and the other devotees on the festival committee received after our hugely popular Govardhana Puja and Go Puja festival last year. Because of strict government COVID regulations going forward, which we do have to follow very strictly, the festivals, the major festivals, starting from Govardhana Puja last year and this year in 2021. Today is our first major festival. So we want to make the festivals even more ecstatic than they've always been by having a particular theme. So this is the theme today, everyone, of Lord Nityananda's appearance day. And the good news is that the same theme, which was so well received on Govardhan Puja, Rudy Gopi and the festival devotees are going to continue that again later on this year. Hari Bol, which is really ecstatic. And every major festival this year, everyone will have a theme, all right? A wonderful devotional theme. So that's a little bit about that, and I'll just quickly run through the program today. So in about 20 minutes, we've got a little break for 20 minutes, though some devotees are more than welcome to do kirtan for the pleasure of their lordships, looking extra gorgeous, of course, today. But at 9 o'clock, and all of the festivities will take place outside today, everyone, again for government COVID protocols. So at 9 o'clock, Premanjali will be heading up her team of bhajan performers. And at 9:30 we have more bhajans from Malini Devi Dasi and some of our young children. At 9:45 Ramai Swami will be speaking outside, and at 10:15 or thereabouts their lordships Sri Sri Gaurnitai will come out of the temple, and we'll have the Abhishek outside, and there's a gift opening and plenty of time after the gifts for more and more kirtan, and of course 12 o'clock Arati, and then the feast at 12:30. So yeah, just wanted to put everybody in the frame there for our wonderful ecstatic festival today. All right. So enjoy, everyone. Have a wonderful day. It's Lord Nityananda's arrangement, I'm sure, that Thursday was washed out, so that on Saturday, which is not a work day or a school day, more and more of you are able to attend, and I'm sure during the course of the morning from 9 o'clock onwards we'll have more and more devotees coming. So have a wonderful Nityananda Trayodasi. Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol.